Okay, the first question is, when was the first time that you heard about bear community? You told me it's new to you, so just to tell me.
Yeah, it's new to me in terms of identifying with that community. Um, but before transitioning, I identified as a lesbian, and then a butch lesbian and a dyke, and so being part of the LGBT community. And I also lived in San Francisco for many years, and I lived in the Castro for a long time. And so I would go to lots of community events, like Folsom Street Fair, Castro Street Fair, Pride, things like that. So I was aware that there's a bear community, um, but I don't think I remember vividly the first time that I heard about it. But just
You were in the environment
yeah, I was
always.
just like in the middle of San Francisco and Castro. You kind of just come upon those things while you're there.
Okay.
Or you see different types of men walking around, and you're just like, oh, that's different. That guy's dressed in all leather, or this guy is really furry and is wearing shorts, or he's really beefy and hairy, and so you just kind of wondered, oh, I wonder
Okay, was like
how they
natural.
identify or what their community is like.
Okay. How how did you feel identified with the bear community? How did you feel identified with the bear community? Like a bear, like a wolf. How do you
Oh,
think?
like how do I identify?
Yes.
I don't know like all the different terms. Um, so, and I didn't say that identifying as a bear is new to me. So I think like I know that like I'm bear, I'm masculine. I like hairy. I'm hairy. I like the aesthetic, like the presentation, how it's expressed um, externally.
Okay.
Um, and I think I think I'm more of like passive,
Okay.
so not necessarily like dominant. So
Okay. Yeah. Just you say it's like appearance.
yeah, and then I also like the idea that from what I have learned from talking to other people who identify as bear, like like I'll go to the loft and I'll just chat and I'll ask questions and stuff.
Okay.
Um, I like the idea of being comfortable with your body the way it is, like not being so. I mean, I know that there's parts of the community that are into like muscles, and there's a
Yes.
community that's more muscular and beefy, but then there's the other part of the bear community that just sort of accepts you for who you are, and just like
Yes.
loves you.
It's about to feel comfortable with
Yeah,
your
it's about
body.
feeling comfortable.
I could fit with these people.
Yeah, and I think for me, that's the single point of that I identify with that really resonates with me because I spent, there's in our larger culture, um, when I identified as female, um, there's an expectation that your body be a certain way, and so there was always um, struggle inside about that and not feeling. Um, it was harder to accept myself as like a bigger person,
Okay.
and so when I transitioned, it's a lot easier in our culture for men to be less body conscious, right? The expectations aren't as harsh, and that's just in the greater culture, I think. And then within the gay community, there's some of that too, where they want you to be muscular, or there's expectations to be muscular. But then there's also like in the bear community, I really liked that I found that part of the community that
Okay.
is not necessarily as wedded to those body stereotypes or ideas, or so for me that I feel a connection to that.
Did you get surprised about to know new patterns of beauty? For example, that you can fit in a bear community, so you are attractive for a group of people. For example, if you are in an environment with a lot of people with muscle, or the cliche of the gay community,
Right.
then when you met the bear community, maybe it's not your case, no? But did you get surprised about it?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, actually, it's funny because a year ago I was here and I had gone to the loft, and it was packed, and there were a lot of bears in there, and as soon as I walked in, I just was like, it was so packed I had to, like, squeeze between people, and as I was doing that, a lot of the guys were like making comments about how attractive I was, or am, I guess. And I was very, I had a mixed emotions. I was like, oh, it felt really good to like be, you know, um, I guess, I don't know if desired the right word, but like to be attractive and have people tell me, and being like a bigger guy.
Yes, it's
I mean, my wife likes that I'm a bigger guy because she likes that, and so, and I identify, and I've been more comfortable with identifying as bisexual, and like, and so that was a real affirming experience for me, and it made me really sort of think more about just how multifaceted my identity is, and like what part does being a bear play, and so it was an interesting experience.
okay. I think I did you that question. The how do you identify and define and why? I did you that question. True?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
How I identify and why, yeah.
Okay. Yes. What's the next one? Well, I think I finished, but let me try this one. Before, did you feel uncomfortable with your body, or you always were you always were looking like well, let me, how can I say that, like, if you feel comfortable with your body before being a bear, of because you before were slim, no?
Yeah, I was slim when I was younger. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, but I've all it's I think it's a unique experience because I'm transgender, and so there's always been a certain level of discomfort around my body because I didn't identify as female and I was in a female body.
Okay, but not with your weight. Is
Right,
not,
right. And then
Okay.
so because I was pretty athletic and pretty fit, and so that was good. But when I gained weight and I hadn't yet transitioned to being male, I was uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yes. In the butch femme community, I don't think it's as the body image isn't as rigid, so you could be a bigger butch woman, but I was uncomfortable being a bigger butch woman, so I was uncomfortable.
Okay. Another question, and I don't know if I could do that or not. And you have to apologize me if it's too much. But did you do surgery or something about sex change, or take out the breath?
Yeah.
How was that? Just
It was affirming for me. You know, it helped me to feel much more comfortable in my body and in the world and how I move through the world. I feel a lot more at ease. I move more comfortably. Before I would spend a lot of time like hiding stuff and,
Okay.
and being very aware of moving so that someone wouldn't notice that I have breasts or, you know. And since I had top surgery and then I had a male chest constructed, so I do a lot less of that now. I move like I don't worry about hiding and like people discovering that
Okay.
I'm female. You
But
know?
just just due to the breast.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and I take hormones.
okay, and you take hormones. Okay, but is there any surgery for no?
No.
Okay, because I was asking, sharing something about that by internet. I don't know if the information is correct or if just people posting fake pictures about surgery. About the I know this is the surgery for men to be to have
Yeah.
woman
Yeah.
woman parts,
Right.
but I don't know if
There
for a
is-
woman it's possible.
There is surgery. You can have it, but I have elected not to.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
you elect.
Yeah, below. Yeah, I don't.
Okay, you don't
but,
want.
But it is available.
It's available. Okay, but it's necessary. Okay, it's just thing that I was reading. It's necessary to do a psychologist exams to do it or not? It's just to you have to choose it or.
I think it. I think I'm not entirely sure. I know that some. I think it depends on like the medical services who are providing the surgeries or the hormones or whatever they require. But I know that there's a general set of standards that were set by it's called YPATH, and I don't know what the letters stand for because it escapes me right now. But it's basically a set of standards for providing treatment for transgender people, and part of that is working with a therapist or a psychologist.
Okay, we think we finish. It's okay. Let me